Hey there, Scots Nation. Welcome to this week's episode of Between the Lines. I'm Harrison Lalone, sitting next to my buddy, Stephen Kipp. So to start off, we'll talk about some soccer from last weekend. Men's game end tied 0-0 against Kalamazoo. Very, very close game. A lot of play near midfield. Not a whole lot of shots on goal, 11 total. So Nick Straight for the men. How do you think?
Straight's been pretty phenomenal this year, and that's an understatement in my opinion. He's leading the conference in pretty much every relevant goalie statistic, including goals against average, saves, and save percentage. His save percentage is at a walloping .980. That's pretty ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And right up there too, Kelsey Postema, another very good goalie here for the women. Had kind of a rough game Saturday, but in her defense, there were a lot of shots on goal for the women. Kalamazoo ran a lot for the women's game. It almost seemed like they might have been in better shape, or maybe they were just faster. But either way, it just seemed almost like it was a track meet out there. And
KZoo usually has a really good game plan coming in. They're usually a powerhouse in the soccer conference every year, in and out it seems like. The women unfortunately lost their second straight on Saturday 4-2. That puts them at 3-3 overall, while the men sit 5-1-1. The goals scored in the women's game, though, were notable. Two seniors. The first one was Megan Kalanick.
It's Kalanick.
Oh, Megan Kalanick, my bad. And then senior Lindsay Lloyd with her first career goal here at Alma.
Yeah, and it was a pretty special goal. A lot of the girls on the bench were really, really excited after that goal.
Very good. And then in the men, they didn't score, but Austin Gabri, the captain, is leading the team with shots, and he led the team with shots also on Saturday again.
And along with that, not only does he lead statistically, he is a great leader, a great communicator on the field. The next match for the Scots on Saturday will be a women's game at Scotland Yard against Calvin, and then next Tuesday will be the next home match for the men, also against Calvin.
Can't wait for that one.
That's right.
All right, we're going to bounce on into women's golf now. They had a really good weekend.
Really
Saturday.
good's kind of an understatement.
Saturday for the D3 Railside Classic. I don't know what that is. It sounds pretty official, though, if you ask me. The women's team actually came in second overall as a team with a total score of 333. But the high note of it was sophomore
Kennedy Hilly.
I don't even know who that is because she's a sophomore, but she's pretty relevant now, if you ask me. She shot a 74, 2 over par for those of you that don't know golf. 74 at the Railside Classic.
Yeah, and Kennedy wasn't the only one to have like a career kind of day. Katie Nicewender too scored an 83, which is a really, really notable score.
Second on the team.
Second on the team.
But after the 74, I think her next best score was an 88 this weekend. So she just had an exceptional match, which is amazing. 74 is ridiculous. Because I golf, or I like to think I golf, but I mean, nowhere even near that. That's amazing. And if you even know our men's golf team here, I'm sure they would love to have her on the team because that's like 15 strokes at least better than what they shoot, per 18.
Right.
Easily. All right, Kennedy also won MIAA Women's Golfer of the Week for the Scots this week with her amazing play on Saturday.
Not only was it amazing, it was record-setting. For her, she tied her personal record of 74 strokes in a round, which is also the school's record for any individual.
Very good weekend for Scots golf, if you ask me.
If you ask anyone, right? Just put that in there.
If you ask anyone.
If you ask anyone.
How'd the men do? Oh, they practiced. That's right. Sorry, guys.
Also from last weekend, the football team won 31-28 over Concordia, Wisconsin, and the game wasn't as close as the score would say, in my opinion.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. They were up 24-7 at halftime, and this final score ended up being 31-28. Concordia, Wisconsin took the lead in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left to make it 28-24, really putting the pressure on the Scots. And the Scots had to come up with a game-winning drive, and this is how they let it off. Dylan threw a swing pass out right to Daniel Hugan, their star wide receiver, and he undressed the cornerback and ran down the field for 40 yards, and then collected a personal foul penalty. Thank you to whoever the was that tackled him way after the whistle. Fine, whatever. I get it, you're in the heat of the moment. But seriously, so now we're talking. You just gave a first and goal, and you're only up by 4. I would be surprised if the coach left him in the game after that. Honestly.
Oh, for sure. And so then after that, getting the first and goal, it was a big struggle after that too. Couple carries by Sullivan that got stuffed, an incomplete pass by Zabrowski, and then
I was having flashbacks to the Super Bowl with the Patriots and the Seahawks when I saw them throw a slant
pass. Oh, geez.
We're lucky that Dylan overthrew him by 10 yards, or that might have been a little scary.
Malcolm Butler might have showed up again.
Yeah, who knows?
And so then to finish it off on 4th and 1,
4th and 1 with about 30 seconds left on the clock.
Nick Sullivan finally gets the carry to pound it in, take the lead 31-28, and that's how the game finished.
As a Scott fan, I was really satisfied with the play call there because I swear to God, if they would have thrown it again, my heart was in my throat the entire time.
And after Nick Sullivan had scored the final touchdown, Concordia got the ball back, and the last play of the game was a Dustin Tripp sack. We talked about him last week. This is something that I expect out of him every week at this point now, to just come out and play really good football in the backfield and give the quarterback hell.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how the game ended.
He's definitely been a steady player for the Scots this year on the line who had some shakeups and some losses, so it's good to see that out of a younger player. He's a junior, so we'll have him for another year after this. That's very good to see for Strobel and the new defense who's kind of looking for,
that next round of leadership.
Yeah, exactly. Here we're going to cut into our segment with our guest star, who is Drew Burton, who's actually the co-offensive coordinator for the Alma Scots, and he's the line coach too. So we will see you on A Word with Coach Drew Burton.
Harry, that's a good looking pair of pants. I gotta compliment you.
How are the audio levels?
Quiet.
Is it true that you make car parts for the American working man because that's who you are and that's who you care about?
Coach Drew Burton, everybody. Alma College football. Okay. All right. Hello there, Scott Nation. We're here with Coach Drew Burton. He's the co-offensive coordinator for the Alma College Scots football team. And we are doing our segment here called A Word with Drew Burton. Are you ready, Drew?
Oh, yeah.
All right. He's stoked, everybody. Here we go. Drew, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Neapolitan.
Who is your celebrity crush?
Hunger Games. Yes.
Okay.
Hunger Games.
Which
That's my final answer.
It's almost done. We're like at 5 seconds.
Which of your football players is the biggest pest on the field?
That's a hard question. Let's say Ian Hickerson.
Who is the biggest fool on your football coaching staff?
Riley Frisser.
What coach at Alma intimidates you the most?
Greg Piscadna.
All right. Thank you, Drew, for your answers on A Word with Coach Drew Burton.
That's 2 words, Greg.
All right, so we're still here with Drew Burton, and this time we're going to have some real talk. So to start, I'd like to ask you why Ian Hickerson is your biggest pest.
Ian does so many things for our football team. Played a great football game on Saturday. Ian's the guy that's typically on his blocks at the end of the play whenever we stop the tape. He's still blocking whoever it is he's supposed to be blocking, and they don't like that. So when you said pest, that was the first thing that came to mind.
Okay, I got you.
You mentioned Ian had a good game on Saturday. You guys got the win against Concordia there in Wisconsin. I watched the whole game. It was a good first half. And then I was wondering if you maybe could break down maybe what happened in the second half with your offense. You guys kind of stalled a little bit, I think would be a good word, until your last drive, obviously, where you guys capped it off and got the win.
Obviously, we did a lot of things and we're able to run the football and have a lot of success in the first half, but they had some good answers in the second half. So I think they decided to play some man on us, and ultimately, when you got Dan Hugan on the field, probably should have thrown the football a little bit more to kind of kill off some of that man coverage that we were getting. We got after them now in the first half, and so they kind of pulled out all stops to say, regardless of what happens, you guys are not going to run the football in the second half. So, it comes back to just execution. We executed in the first half and didn't execute in the second half. So we've got to get to the point as a program then when people start, really emptying the tank or emptying the clip at our offense in terms of the variables they can present to us, that we get better at dealing with those variables. Great for our guys to put the drive together at the end and finish it off 4th and goal, with 23 seconds left, and to bang the thing in like we did was a great thing for our football players. We always like to learn when we win. It's not as fun to learn when we don't win, but learning lessons when we win is ideal for us, and very proud of our players and the way they handled Saturday. The cool thing, we're in the huddle and we're talking about what to call and what to do, and it was, it's a conversation. And Dan Hugan doesn't have too many ideas that don't involve Dan Hugan, and Dan Hugan's like, hey, give it to Sully, he's getting in, you know. So I kind of looked at Coach Mornick, and he looked back at me, and I was like, yeah, that's what we're doing. He's getting the ball, and we're going to get the thing in. So
Thanks, Coach, for coming on to our segment Real Talk, but I think what everyone's waiting for. Are you ready for our very first Coaches Challenge?
I'm ready for whatever, I think is what the kids are saying these days. So
All right, let's go out there. All right, we're out here for our first ever coaches segment with the lovely Kaitlyn Arnold and Coach Drew Burton. We're gonna have a little race between these two. I'd like to thank Kaitlyn first of all for coming on the show, though.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're gonna do a 100-meter dash. So let's get to it. So how do you feel about that race?
you know, no excuses. We're going to go back to the drawing board. We're going to get better. We're going to make the changes we need to make.
Thanks for tuning in this week to our first Coaches Challenge, and see you next week.
Between the lines.